Hello, Internet. 'Tis I, your favorite drag queen turned GM, Shelley Von Miller here, and I'm joined once again by the talented, awesome creative director of Call of Cthulhu from Chaosium, Mike Mason. Hello.
Oh, hi.
It's only been a month since we talked, and here we are again.
But it's so much. It seems much longer ago, but yes, it was just a month at Gen Con, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, Gen Con was just a month ago. It's hard. It's hard to think of that way. It's like, oh,
Gen Con is such a an overwhelming experience that it's like it. So many things happening at once that it feels like a year just walking away the next day. So.
But we're not here to reminisce about Gen Con, though I'm sure your Gen Con experience was awesome. We're here to talk about the new book that is coming out, or is out now.
Yeah, it's out already out. Yeah.
Yeah, the Order of the Stone from Call of Cthulhu.
That's right. Right.
It's a horror mystery in 3 parts. What is that about?
Yeah, it's basically it's a campaign for Call of Cthulhu, but campaign can mean so many things. So I call it a mini campaign because when you compare it to something like a big campaign like Masks of Nyarlathotep, which is world spanning and in I'm trying to remember how many chapters are, but more than 5 chapters, more than 5 big scenarios. So the Order of the Stone is smaller. It's effectively 3 chapters, so 3 scenarios that are linked together, and it's not world spanning. It does cover a few different locations, but quite small. It kind of starts on board a ship, and then it kind of goes to into that kind of New England area, kind of north of Arkham, into a place called Greyport, and so on. And so it's fairly focused down. So it's similar to the other campaign we released a little while back called A Time to Harvest, but it's a smaller campaign than even that one. So it's quite a cool campaign if you've never run a campaign before and you just want something a little bit more bite-sized and easier to get into, and obviously won't take as long to play. So again, you don't need that extended time commitment like 1 or 2 years with running Mask of Nyarlathotep. You can maybe run this over 3 to 6 sessions maybe.
That's excellent, because then, I mean, like you said, it's just the location that you arrive in is just north of Arkham, so you can easily just move right into the Arkham book.
Absolutely, yeah. It's in fact in the introduction there's a map of the Miskatonic Valley, and shows you where Arkham is and shows you where the campaign locations are, and there's a couple that are kind of to the east of Arkham, and then a couple that are kind of just northwest of Arkham, but they're all within the distance, kind of thing. So they if you're using Arkham as a base, it in theory kind of works alongside that as well.
I'll say this: I've noticed that a lot of not a lot, but recently, Call of Cthulhu has moved to the Northeast. Of course, that makes sense because of the witches and the superstition and supernatural effect of the New England area. Is there what do we have in store for New England coming up?
Well, there's I guess building out from the Arkham book, I'm currently working on the kind of sequels to the Arkham book. So I'm currently working on the Innsmouth book, which is obviously a place just north of Innsmouth on the coast in New England, in Massachusetts. But also down the line there will be the Dunwich book and also the Kingsport book. So we're kind of like if Arkham's your hub, we're kind of just stepping out a little bit further for that in that kind of Miskatonic Valley region, as we call it. And a lot of our other books tend to nominally be placed in a particular location, often in that kind of New England area, but also sometimes somewhere else. but a lot of them are very adaptable depending on where you want to run them. So if you do want to run a New England sort of style series of games, they're all very easy, either already based there or can be transferred there. But equally, if you're on the West Coast and you really want to run kind of more kind of things around between San Francisco and LA, or even northwards towards Seattle, a lot of the stuff is very movable. So we try and keep things a little flexible as possible, as flexible to ensure that people can move them around. And obviously, we have players around the world, so if they want to reset them in their hometown, like me, I live in England, so I mean, I could reset them in my hometown or in London or somewhere, or equally if I'm in Germany or Japan or wherever. We try to make them reasonably modular to allow for that, to make it easy for people to just do a little bit of tinkering without having to do a great deal of work to kind of make the scenarios more tailored to them and their group, and the kind of games they want to run.
Without getting into too many spoilers, what can people expect from the book itself?
Well, let me have a look at what we said, to try and my spoiler-free text to ensure
Spoiler-free,
that
of
I
course.
don't give you any too many secrets away. But basically, it kind of all begins in Ireland in terms of the background to the campaign, with an archaeological dig, and then basically to give you an overview, something is found, and there's something. It's an artifact, and within that artifact, it has the essence of something horrible, basically. That if that's allowed to kind of manifest, it's bad news. But because there's actually 3 of these artifacts that you kind of discover, there are 3, and you find that this big entity is actually been contained in 3 parts. So you could release part of it, and you get like a medium-sized monster might come chasing after you. But if 2 get opened and they kind of join together, the monster gets bigger. And guess what? If all 3 are allowed to kind of open and combine, it's this really, really bad big monster that's going to come and wreck your day, basically. So basically, the campaign is basically around unearthing these artifacts, tracking them down, and obviously you're not alone. You're trying to get them to stop bad things happening, but there's people who want them for their own bad reasons, who wants to release these things, and so you're kind of working against a cult and various people who are kind of interested in these artifacts, and it's kind of all rooted back to kind of druidry and all this kind of stuff as well. So it's got these kind of Irish connections that kind of go back, and then they've kind of come across in the more modern era in the 1920s into New England. So as I say, it's an ideal kind of starter campaign, and an ideal if you are using the Arkham book, or even if you're not, it works either way. But it's nicely bite-sized, and they're cool, fun adventures. And as I say, they kind of take place in different settings. There's one in the town, there's one on board a ship, and there's one in a campsite. Like it's not a recreation
like Camp Crystal Lake,
but kind of Camp Crystal Lake vibes are going on there. So you get quite a different feel across the campaign in terms of the locales you go to. So and it's pretty cool. It's been a lot of fun to work on, and Lynn Hardy, who my co-editor, did most of the work on this book, actually working it together and working with the author who put it together. And Jared Twing did a lot of work on obviously mapping it out and writing the campaign. So and then Lynn and Paul Fricker both worked on putting it together in terms of developing it for publication. So it's been a real team effort, I guess, is what I'm saying. And it's very cool to play, having played through bits of it and so forth. So
I think that's the one thing that if I ever got into like game development, is just like the playtesting part, because I'm like, this is so great.
yes,
Like you get to see the kind of like what all you've created, and like also kind of figure out like what works and what doesn't. I think that would probably be my favorite part of making a game. It's
Yeah, well,
just like,
it's certainly
okay, yeah.
the fun bit because you get a break from tapping away at the keyboard, and you can actually roll some dice and have a bit of fun as well as playtesting. So it's good fun.
So there are tons of NPCs. If you scroll through well, I have the digital and I'm getting the physical copy. There are a ton of NPCs, and at one point, and I think the second chapter, it says, by the way, people are probably going to die. One of the investigators was probably going to die. Here's some NPCs that you can easily plug in. What was the decision around that?
I mean, Call of Cthulhu, at the end of the day, it's a mystery horror game, and part of horror is a sense of danger and threat, and obviously sometimes you're going against, knife or gun-toting cultists or otherworldly monsters that want to eat you up, kind of thing. So, characters are vulnerable. The game very much tries to mirror real life in that, if you're shot, you're probably going to get pretty hurt or even die. And so the game mirrors that. So you're not superhumans, kind of where you can just walk through a hail of bullets, that kind of thing. It's very much sort of based in reality. So there's an understanding that characters might die, and so what we don't want to do is obviously cause problems in the group, as in someone's character just died, and that means where they can't play anymore. They've got to go and sit in the corner and get bored while everyone else has fun. So we try to where an NPC comes up that actually is quite an interesting NPC and actually could, in theory, quite easily become an investigator because of their kind of interactions in game with the group of players so far. They can get pulled in. So we try to highlight that and give some reasons and some suggestions on how that might happen, because we don't know how people are going to play and what their experience is going to be of the particular game. We playtest and we kind of know what happened to us, but what we did might not be what another group of people out there do. So it could be you have a very cautious group and they avoid combat and violence, and so they don't have to worry about replacement characters. Equally, you get another group at the extreme who are basically, we're just going to fire away and find themselves in a lot of trouble all the time. And so, they tend to drop like flies. So ensuring there's some sort of way to incorporate new characters for the players in the game, is important, because we don't want people to feel that they've missed out if their character dies. We want them to be able to carry on and enjoy the game, and that's why we're all here, isn't it? To hopefully have a good game and socialise and have good fun with our friends. So we want to try and make that as easy as possible, I guess.
Yeah, dice will do dice things. As somebody who's had a character die twice in a campaign, yeah, I will fully admit that the dice will do dice things. So are there any upcoming projects that you're really excited about that you can tell us? You can tell us, of course. Sure. Yeah, I don't want Brian to email me and be like, "Are you kidding me?"
We're both getting emails, stern emails. And I think there's probably two books I can probably talk about. The first is No Time to Scream, which is going to be coming out after The Order of the Stone, and that is again a smaller collection of what you might call one night scenarios, like a movie. So you should be able to play them all in one gaming session. They're not very big. They're quite contained scenarios, and there's 3 of them in the book. And again, some of them take place near Arkham or in Arkham. But they again can easily be moved around to wherever you want to set them, to be honest. And they are similar in kind of scope to the scenarios we had in the previously published book called Gateways to Terror, which again were kind of 1-2 hour, maybe 3 hour kind of long scenarios. So ideal for that kind of, hey, we just want to play a game tonight, but we don't want to take hours and we don't want to have multiple sessions, just do one game and enjoy it. And so they're very much like that. So they work very well whether you're an experienced group and you just want to break from maybe a different game you've been playing, or you're new to Call of Cthulhu and you want easy bite-sized scenarios that kind of introduce you to the concept of the game, stick you in an interesting and terrible situation you've got to escape from. And so that'll be coming out, and they're very cool. There's a one of my favourites. I've been running this. I've been running this beyond playtesting because I've been enjoying running it as a scenario set in Arkham Hospital in the morgue, and lots of bizarre things happening. So it's a really great setting for this kind of game. So that one's good to look out for. And the other book I probably should mention, which I guess you would have seen at Gen Con, we had some advance copies on sale there, was Cthulhu by Gaslight, the Investigator's Guide, which is
picked it up.
The first book in the kind of revamped, revivified Cthulhu by Gaslight line. So this book is a player-facing book on the Gaslight setting, which is kind of late Victorian. It's mainly centered on Victorian England, but it does within the book even expand to the east coast of the US with, Boston and New York and so on, all being within that kind of time period, and you can get across the Atlantic pretty easily, and beyond, around the world. So you don't have to just focus on London, although the book obviously gives you a lot of information in terms of London and occupations and rolling characters. And in fact, also the book includes the kind of core Cthulhu rules. So if you're completely new to Call of Cthulhu, but you want to give it a go, and actually kind of that kind of Victorian era kind of thing is, what interests you rather, more than maybe the 1920s. It's a great book to start with because you don't need to, buy the rule book or the starter set to start playing this game if you want to get into it that way. So you can really, hit the ground running with this book. And this is, as I say, player facing, lots of useful stuff for players, lots of background, lots of information, character rules, the main game rules, and so on. And then that's going to be followed in 2025 with the Gaslight Keeper's Guide, which is all the mythos, secret stuff, scenarios, and lots of wonderful things like that, which are perfect if you're a keeper. So those are the next big things on the horizon, I guess. Yeah, No Time to Scream and Cthulhu by Gaslight Investigator Guide.
Perfect. Now, I'm actually going to PAX Australia. Weirdly enough, I'll be in Australia for a month. And I saw that there's a few Chaosium, Call of Cthulhu type of events happening. Can you give us any clues of what we can expect of
Call of
Cthulhu Live?
Chaosium will be at PAX Australia, and although I won't be, unfortunately, but yeah, so they'll be running lots and lots of demo games. So if you've never tried Call of Cthulhu and want to give it a taster, they're doing very quick play, short taster sessions, so you can really get a flavour for both the game feel and the mechanics and how easy the mechanics are to pick up. So lots of kind of demo games being available for free at the con, and as well as that, I believe there's some panels around kind of horror gaming, Cthulhu in general, that some of our Australian folks will be running and contributing to. And I think there may be a few full-length games as well, kind of convention 3-4 hour slot full adventures as well to look out for. So lots going on at PAX, and obviously you can be able to pick up any of the book, most of the books I've mentioned, and obviously our back catalogue as well. Whether you're a new to it all or an old hand, there should be something hopefully of interest that you might want to look at.
Thank you for sitting down with me once again. Last time it was standing up. Now it's sitting down. Is there anything that you want to plug or anything like that before we end this video?
I to be honest, I think I've done a lot. I feel like I've done a lot of plugging already. I don't want to overdo it, but no, I would just say, Order of the Stone is very cool. No Time to Scream and the new Gaslight book are all our new things coming out and are well worth looking at. But if you have any interest at all and you're not sure about trying this out or where to start, probably the best thing I can plug is to say, go and look at the Call of Cthulhu starter box set. that is tailor-made for people who have never played Call of Cthulhu before. Maybe you've never role-played before, you never played any role-playing game, and it will take you in a very easy and light way into the game, how to play, how to run, and and hopefully, once you've done that, you've got you're into it and you're away and you can, enjoy lots of, Call of Cthulhu gaming for years to come. But that's a great place to start the starter set. But that's my last plug. Thank you for giving me the option.
You can find all Call of Cthulhu and Chaosium titles at chaosium.com or your local game store. Please support your local game store because, they're the backbone of the hobby in general. And, well, thank you again, Mike, for talking with me. And I'll see you on the internet. Goodbye!